RTD Live Talk, Detroit's number one late night YouTube talk show. It is Wednesday night, midweek. We are back at it for a live stream, and I want to start a little earlier tonight to be able to get hopefully more calls in. And so, of course, tonight's subject matter is basically I want to just touch on last night's Shouting Fest drama show, TV reality show. Not sure what to call it, but it dang sure wasn't a debate. And even if it was a debate, none of the information they shared was anything new. It sounded like a bunch of sound bites from all the prior things that they've done via media. So nothing new, but it's very telling of where this current political season is at and where this nation is heading. And so curious to find out your take on it, as well as share a lot of things happening around the internet, as well as my 2 cents. So welcome to the live stream. My name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk. Excited to be back. If we have any new viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching from. Would definitely love to acknowledge your presence and shout you out in the chat. And then, of course, open up the phone lines. I pinned it at the top so you guys can always have it. And so we can get right into it and just share your thoughts, and we'll walk through this, because after watching that, I was very shocked, very surprised on a lot of fronts. You know, I was completely caught off guard. I was anticipating a shouting match / a lot of disruption amongst the two, but I question, Joe Biden. He did a lot better than I anticipated, and it got me to wondering, how is that possible? So, yeah, I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. So, as always, let's dive right into it. I want to hear from you guys. Want to hear your thoughts and opinions, and let's talk through this. So, we got Jay Marta, we got Natural Mama. Said, "Oh my goodness, it was crazy last night." We got Ralph. We got Brian. We got Tony B in the building. We got Brian, we got Broadlight Broker Blunt News, we got Dejaru, if I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly. Broadlight, we got Ralph. No more stimulus for North Americans until March 2021. I'm not surprised. Pat, okay, we got a fair amount of people here. Okay, so Sleepy Joe had a wire. Okay, so we can touch on that. And so I was attempting. I tried to watch the replay of the. It's not even a debate. I'm not sure what to call it, but I see somebody say, call it a shit show. And so, yeah, but let me see if I can find it real quick. And so I tried to actually find the footage that whoever posted a video showing that Biden had a wire on, and I couldn't find it. I was trying to validate that, but I'll pull up right here for those that may not be familiar with it. But there's a little clip here circulating on how Joe Biden had a wire, and so here's a little segment here that they're referring to. And apart from seeing that little string right there, it's not enough proof to me for me to actually validate that claim. So I'm not going to jump on that. Biden had a wire on. But I must admit, Biden was extra sharp, a lot sharper than he naturally should have been, for him to have had so many mental lapses, even reading a teleprompter, prior to this whole debacle that took place last night. But we can run with that, because he was throwing out too many stats, roughly the same stats, but with confidence, as if he had it either written down or something was being fed to him to where he was able to spew all that information out. But I'm curious to find out what you guys think. So as a response of last night, I've looked at all types of articles, and everybody pretty much agrees that it was. I'll actually put the first article up here. This is a good way of making it a clean interpretation of how bad it was. So Politico says a national embarrassment. And of course, it said Biden attacks Trump after messy debate. And so every headline has their own spin on it. And so I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So let's talk about this, man. Anybody want to give me a call? Let's talk about this. Phone lines are open. I'm curious to share my thoughts as well as get yours. But it looks like they're going to be changing the rules, or look to change the rules, and being able to be able to cut off microphones so that they can't speak over each other, and basically say the same exact thing. And so some of the key takeaways, so I'm curious to find out what, your number one takeaway. But some of the key takeaways I got from that whole debacle was that both Trump and Biden They love to bash each other, telling the people nothing. But then they both think they're speaking to the American people on how each one of them can make our lives better. How and of course Biden loves using the words bringing back jobs. And then of course Trump loves talking about how great of an economy he created before COVID and how he inherited an awful economy. And I'm thinking like, outside of disrupting some of the trade deals, redoing the NAFTA and taking us away from the TPP and all that other stuff, and starting a trade war with China, I'm thinking like, the Federal Reserve had already had this economy in a zero rate environment with some form of quantitative easing already going. And how did he really make things better? But they'll never get to the true heart of the problem from a financial or monetary standpoint. They'll never talk about the Federal Reserve apart from last presidential election. Trump ran on the fact of talking about the Federal Reserve as being political and that they were creating an economy that's very unstable. But yet it's a lot worse now. But yet he won't mention that. So, yeah, that is what it is, man. But let's talk about this. So we got Blunt News says, what a show last night. Let me get caught up in its feed here. Natural Mama says, I think it was Joe's mic. I think Joe was mic'd. And so, okay, if Joe was mic'd, that is definitely a possibility because in watching it, he was very calm and relaxed, and all his responses or attacks from Trump were, well, he responded very well. I was very surprised. And, everybody I'm sure has their own interpretation of, if you were to try to pull out a winner, ultimately, as I've seen several people mention, regardless of who won the debacle, on stage debacle, the American people ultimately lose because, once again, it boils down to if those two individuals are the best of what we have to offer ourselves, and we are all up shit's creek without a paddle, pardon my French. And so, man, it's very disturbing. I did not sleep good last night. I must admit, I did not sleep good because I was replaying all those different sound bites in my mind from last night and thinking like, man, like this is really gonna be problematic because when it ended, neither one of them really reassured the viewers that there will be a peaceful transfer, other than saying that Trump basically saying he's going to contest it in a sense no matter what, and then Biden of course saying that when the results come out, as if he knows something, like he know that no matter what happens, he's going to be crowned the next president or something like that. I don't know. But let's talk about this, man. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on it. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello. How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from? What's your thoughts on last night's debacle?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. What's up, brother?
Tony B, I'm good, my man. What's on your mind tonight?
I'm gonna call you twice tonight,
man. Okay. Feel free. And then we can touch on whatever else as well. But I'd imagine a lot of people probably got some things they want to get off their chest about the debate situation. So I want to make sure it's available. But go ahead.
It was the reality president. We've seen it all before. We've seen it in 2016 with Trump, how he did Hillary. And we've seen that. I mean, every time Joe gets up there, he talks about Scranton and how he was a kid delivering newspapers. I mean, this is ridiculous. If anybody just goes back and watch those clips of the presidential debates and vice president debate back when Biden was in, it's the same script. They read from the same script. As a matter of fact, they read from the same script so much that when they walk off stage, somebody run up there and grab it. So nobody knows that.
I saw that as well. And did you? I was watching it from RT, and it was just all nothing but the stage. So I didn't get none of the commentators sharing their 2 cents on it. And when it ended, I'm assuming they may not have showed it on all of the broadcasting, but when they were done debating, Trump gave them like one of the winks and one of his power fists, like, good job, Joe. Like, and that right there, it boiled my blood because I'm thinking like these guys are in the same club, making it look like it's a good guy, bad guy type of situation. This is all a script to some type of drama, horror movie, some crap like that. But that pissed me off when I saw that, man.
When they got on stage, Joe said, "How you doing? Good to see you." And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great." And I can't believe that Joe wore a mic. I mean, it's just one of those things where these guys know what to say, know what to do.
Yeah.
And in between time and meantime, we glued to the TV talking about what they're gonna do, what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
They got us, man. They got us, right? They want us. And this debate, they said, was 35% less people that were watching than it was with Hillary and him. So, they just get they put on the gloves for the first round.
Yeah.
And by the third round, they throwing blows. And then, the knockout punch may come at the last debate.
Yeah. Now, but so did you see the clip that I'm talking about with the wire? It's like a 7-second clip, 14-second clip. Now, does that look like a wire coming out of his jacket, or is it a wrinkle in his shirt? Because I'm thinking it's a wrinkle in his shirt.
CGI nowadays, you can't tell what's what, so I don't pay no attention to it. I just listen to what he's saying. It sounded like he had good sense.
Yeah, and so see, the thing is, for him, didn't he appear to be extremely sharp and very responsive to the attacks coming his way. Like I was anticipating him being more rattled and more and caught off guard, but he was throwing out stuff that sounded as if it made sense, but yet whether it did or not, I mean, I don't know. I didn't look at the fact check stuff, but he responded very well to where it looked like that wasn't those were not his responses, in my opinion.
Well, if you look at any of Joe's responses, they're a little off to the left or to the radical side, but Joe was Joe last night.
Yeah.
The part that got me was when Trump said, he said, "What police officer, what fund is backing you?" And he's like, "Well, we ain't got time." He said, "Yeah, we got time. I'll wait."
Yeah.
And then Trump said, "You don't believe in law and order." And Biden said, "Yeah, I believe in law and some order." I thought that was the funniest part when he said he believed in law and some order.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's funny that now after the fact, we can sit back and laugh at all that stuff, laugh at all that stuff. But, think about, how that's viewed around the world. Like, how do you think, say other nations that's holding our debt and dependent upon the response of the United States government towards all this current situation, how they feel about basically the crap show that was demonstrated last night? Are they surprised, or they were probably expected, you think, around the world?
No, I years ago I spoke to when Obama and them was having their little thing, and they were. I talked to some Africans pretty well known, mm-hmm. and they're like, "We look at you guys as idiots. You guys are idiots." They run to Africa, and Africa's like, "We'll take that over what you're going through."
Yeah.
So they're just laughing at us. I mean, they know what's coming. We the one that don't know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
We sitting on the tracks, looking at the train and the bright lights, and we talking about we're going to move before it gets there.
Yeah. Good luck with that, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you for sharing your thoughts, man.
All right.
All right, be good.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, man. Good stuff there, man. So, yeah. So, give me, let me hear from you guys, man. I want to make sure I make it available so everybody can call in and share their thoughts. And, what's your number one takeaway? And so, I see a lot of we in trouble. Yes, we in serious trouble. And so, what else you got here? It says both are driving the bus right into hell. Oh, man, that is something else. He says, Rolf said he mentioned some lady and Trump was like, oh, hell, he remembered her name. Yeah, and think about just all the digs. Like, President Trump was constantly throwing digs. But yeah, here's the thing. Like, I'll be straight up with you. When I was done watching that, I was thinking like that went a lot. It went different than I was anticipating it going. I was expecting Trump to be him, very emotional and very sporadic and just blurting out everything like he did with no true substance, nothing. And that's the thing. Like Trump is saying the same thing every single time. And then it was one part of the whole little spiel for an hour and a half of where he said, something about the investigations, Obama, he keep calling her whatever Clinton and him and whatever, he got him. We got you. We got it all on tape. I'm thinking like, okay, you had it on tape for probably a couple of years now. Like, what's the big deal? Like, you're not going to do nothing. So at this current moment, it's like he's mentioning that he got he hasn't gotten a fair shake. But then again, he's not going to do anything about it. And so I'm thinking like nothing. I don't think if there were any people on the fence after last night, nobody was like, oh, I'm definitely, I'm sold now towards this or that, because I think overall, Biden, so I see President Trump today saying he saw 7 polls in which it looks like he won all the debates. He won, according to the polls, he won. And I was not sold. I was not convinced that he really got any more traction under his or any more win under his sails than he already had. And so Biden, to me, actually held his own and actually showed more than I was anticipating, to where, Biden may have, gained a little bit more support from some people out there, because he handled that barrage of attacks very well for the most part, and really, threw out some good points that I think Trump, once again, he got emotional with his. So Trump was a lot more emotional than Biden was. And, it's interesting. I don't think Trump, let me know if I'm wrong, somebody. I don't think Trump had many laughs in there. Like, there was not many times where he was laughing, but Joe Biden made sure he had at least 6 or 7 different laughs on or at Trump's expense. So, so, we'll see. But, I think they're going to make some changes to the next to the next side of things. Let me see here. Get to also or highlight at Rethinking a Dollar. It'll stand out. We'll touch on it. We got here. Says Mike Fam, have any of you seen Biden that sharp before? I have not. Not your mom. And that's the thing. That was one of my concerns as well. And so if that was a Mike in his shirt, it wouldn't surprise me, because he was a lot sharper and appeared to be more prepared in his responses, because in prior clips and videos that we've seen for the last several months, any type of curveball or any type of question that is not pre-scripted and well rehearsed, he stumbled at. And for last night, for him not to have stumbled as much, or I zoomed in once or twice where he was, he was, trying to, gather himself, and he was, so that could have been the stumble, but it wasn't as apparent as it was in some of those highlight clips that people have made about how bad he is. What else we got here? It says Biden is always that. The way I heard him, the sharp once before. Biden did way better than I thought he was possible. Yeah, no doubt. He didn't win where I'm at. When he told Proud Boys, stand by my people, was talking stuff. Donald, you say he didn't win where I'm at. When he told Proud Boys to stand down with people. So, okay, that's another thing. Okay, so I heard something about the Proud Boys. Let me look that up, because once again, more subject matters than a player is able to get to. Let me look up this Proud Boys and find out more about this, because I need to be caught up to speed on a lot of things. Okay, so, all right, so type in Proud Boys for my own response here. So here we go. Here's some things popping up here. This is the leader of the Proud Boys. His name is Enrique Torrio. He is not white. He is their own leader, is not white. So I'm assuming this is the picture of the Proud Boys. Once again, this is one of many groups out there that is hard to keep in track with all of them. But anybody familiar with the Proud Boys, feel free to call in. Let me know what your thoughts are on says, watch Cuban Proud Boy chairman Enrique destroy fake news CNN reporter. Yeah, man. So as far as those out in the street, protesting activists, militias, I'm not sure what to call these people nowadays, because there's so many groups out there, I'm sure, arrested on assault charge after Trump told something to Oregon. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this, man? Like, clearly we're going to see more of this, and it's going to be a lot more groups coming out if they're not already getting any publicity, but yet there's going to be more out there. So Tony said it's a psyops. It says nothing. He's Cuban. What about locking Hillary up? Once again, and this plays into more of this is all a scripted event that's being played out in front of us, similar to a movie script. You look at how we've kind of been given a glimpse as to how this story ends, and it now is just it's the buildup of once again the good guy, bad guy. Like, we got Trump portraying to be the humanitarian, the good guy that's trying to save humanity from evil, and we got Joe Biden, who's been a part of the plan from day one, and is the puppet for the evil. And it's yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone. So he's inciting violence, though. Okay, so I'm assuming you were referring to the Proud Boys, or whatever it is. They're inciting violence. And so is that just in? So I'm assuming, is that just in Portland, or is that like a militia group that's scattered throughout every city or a couple other cities, or what? Let me know. Let me see. The thing says, how long are we going to let the ruling class play with our brains? Nathaniel, man, that is a great question. And unfortunately, at this current moment, because the predominant source of information and the medium at which they are able to communicate and to further spread their propaganda is through the mainstream media, which is what majority of people still believe is telling the truth. And as we witness all the censoring and shadow banning of alternative voices, to where there's no way that the alternative media can provide the information in time for those to wake up. So unfortunately, I don't think there will be an awakening, a total awakening. So therefore, the playing with the brains and manipulating people with emotion and fears is going to continue on. And unfortunately, I really see it becoming a tool that they'll use to turn us all upon one another. Especially as we get close to this vaccine stuff, you're going to believe there's a lot of people out there that think that that's the solution, even though, once again, scientifically speaking, it's not going to solve any type of health problem if there was something out there to be really concerned with of that magnitude. But yet, there's going to be a lot of people out there that, the same response a lot of people are getting about not wearing a mask or wearing a mask. We got all those people who, there's an overwhelming majority of people believe that the mask is a tool or a weapon to fight this current invisible war that we're in. So you better believe they're going to think that needle or that injection or whatever, however they deliver that vaccine, is going to be a solution as well. And they're going to be on your head about you not being patriotic enough to save your fellow man. So, yeah. Anyway, enough of me ranting. What's going on? Let's talk. Okay, Chris Wallace, another great thing worth talking about. What are your thoughts on Chris Wallace? I mean, some, depending on the media source, they said Chris Wallace was, President Trump saying it was 2-1, but yet outside of the questions, which were, nothing that we were not used to hearing already, was, it wasn't nothing that was difficult in the first place. So I don't think Chris Wallace really was, one-sided in my opinion, but what do you guys think? Max says, Chris Wallace didn't hold Biden to answer the question. What question is that? Or several questions. And another thing was, when it comes to, having Biden answer the questions, a lot of times, from what I gathered, Trump was literally, I think Trump overdid it a lot of times, trying to continue to reiterate his points in the midst of Biden, bringing up something new or newer. Trump would automatically interject to where, Trump himself, I wonder, let me see if there's any way of finding out total time that was, let me see if I can find some stats. Let me see there in there. I didn't get a chance to do the fact check to see I wonder what the total stats of actual on mic time, because Trump definitely got his 2 minutes plus some, and he was trying to, hold on, Chris, let me finish this thought. Concept Quad says, hey, Mike, I find it so weird that Americans tolerated this clown Joe Biden blatantly touching young females. Trump doesn't represent the nuclear family, but is perverse. USA is finished. Okay, so that's another thing. Great bringing that up there. Joe Biden, prior to this current presidential cycle here, he had a reputation, and everybody know. I forgot what the nickname was. What it was. Pedo Joe or something like it was something like that, to where it linked Joe Biden to his participation in all that that pedophilia stuff, and so that has not been mentioned one time. And what further lets me know that this is all a big sham is that President Trump is the current president, and if he was really about truth and really about convincing the American populace, those that hate him and those that so-called love him, that he was really operating on behalf of the American people, is give us some fresh revelation, give us some fresh information. He can no longer continue to spew out the greatest economy. The vaccines will be ready by next month. And, Joe been in the politics for 47 years. And, he's been saying that for too long. Like, when are you going to give us something new? Like, it'd be great. It'd be worth your while. You would win over those that question you a lot easier if you were to give us some fresh intel. No, you have access to files, and he always says about unleashing some files pretty soon, or we're going to release some things pretty soon. It's going to be shocking. But to go 3+ years and to not have really completed the promises you ran on your first term, due to some hiccups, I'm sure. But even if you didn't have those hiccups, would you still have actually accomplished all the things that you said you were going to do? And what what I was still waiting on and what I'm still waiting on is Hillary Clinton. Until I see something in that regards there, I was never on the Trump train. And other than just, unfortunately, an unwilling participant in all this, because I happen to be, I've been blessed to be. I've been blessed to be an American citizen and live in this country, because regardless of the chaos we're going through, it's still a lot better than majority of the places on this planet. Because we still do have some choices, thank God. But anyway, I'm doing too much ranting. Give me a call. Let's talk. What do you guys think? What's some more takeaways? What are we expecting for the next round, or will there be a round? And another thing is, what happened to the drug test as well as the earpiece check? I don't know if they end up going about doing that or going that route. But what do you think? What else we got here? Samantha Nelson. Appreciate the love offer to the channel. Says, say no to fascism, vote Jim Crow Joe. Okay. Jim Crow Joe. Yeah, Jim Crow Joe. Okay. Yeah, no, and I would imagine, I would imagine we have close to about 180 or so people here. I would imagine, a show of hands, majority of people here in the audience would probably agree that at this current point, given the total issues that we face as globally, whether we get another 4 years of Trump or 4 years of Biden, no matter what the outcome, will not be favorable for you in particular. Like they especially Trump, when he talks about the African American community, I've done more for the black community, the Latino community, whatever. And then they use the idea of jobs, and they use the idea of government aid. But yet, once again, they act like all blacks, all whites, all Latinos want jobs. People want opportunity to learn, to grow, to live, to experience, and to create, not necessarily looking for a job. But yet, once again, I think that's what they use to sell, that they care. We'll get you a good paying job. They want to, we'll help you. We'll help you fish, but we won't teach you how to do it for yourself, type of thing. Like, yeah, that's a problem. That is a problem. Deep state has deep roots. Be calm and things will be fine. Army of one. I like that approach there. And so, okay, once again, like there might be some people out in the audience that are, like QAnon supporters, believers, that think that this is a part of the process. If you're out there listening or watching, I'm open to hearing about that. Share with me some of the processes or steps that you're witnessing that is right in alignment with where, how this ends as a Trump victory for everybody. If there's anybody out there, let me know. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Bobby from Texas. Can you hear me?
Bobby from Texas. Yes, I can. What's on your mind tonight, my friend? What's your thoughts about that debacle?
Basically, I feel like I just need to focus on faith and just try to find a silver lining, because there's nobody that's going to save any of us. And I think is the majority of people stop using common sense, and we allow the false prophet, which is social media, to just cause everyone to have cross sections with conspiracy theories and all of these different things that are designed to trigger emotion. You have rational people now not trusting anything. They don't trust science. They don't trust government. They don't trust their spouse. They don't trust anybody. So we have this heightened sense of paranoia that I think has been proliferating for like the last couple of decades. Yeah. And now we're about to pay the piper. I think a lot of people are underestimating how dangerous November to January can be. Yeah. You have people who are willing to, maybe you and I could have a rational conversation. Maybe most of the people tuning into your show are going to think about their economy or some other things. But there's some people right now that are waiting on, dog whistles from the president, or look for any excuse that they can do to act on their own insecurities because of the uncertainty. And it's like what you hit the nail on the head about jobs. There used to be a thing called careers. And because of globalism and because of the influx of immigrants and cheap labor, it's like the horses already let out of the barn. Yeah. The digital age is in. I was just looking at an article that said they're about to start digitizing Walmart. I would tell the employees at Walmart a couple of years ago, when they were being very lazy and nonchalant and not wanting to help customers. I said, you need to value people. And I think that's what COVID is showing us, that we all have a symbiotic relationship. If enough people lose jobs and they can't pay taxes, even if you have a government job, you could lose your job, you know? And I guess that sense of American exceptionalism and certainty that we used to have, I think that's being stripped away. And it doesn't really matter who's president, because I believe that there's going to be a bubble. I think eventually there's going to be high inflation, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with what you're saying about precious metals and just trying to secure yourself. But I think at the end of the day, we just can't let our paranoia run amok. And we need to, talk to people like yourself and try to find solutions. And then, all you can do is just do your best and stand. Don't beat yourself up. If the stocks, take a dip, or if you lose your job, because we're limited in terms of the power that we have. And right now, as it seems to me with Trump, I just want somebody that can speak a language where they can articulate their ideas without being divisive, without, not exemplifying dignity. You know what I mean? And a sense of unity, because some people are going to use that as an excuse. We forget a couple of years ago, you had mass shooters. You had people shooting up malls. Yeah, kids shooting up schools. I think the only reason why they're not shooting up schools is because we kind of delayed, how many students can actually attend the campuses. So you have a lot of lost spiritual people who are putting all their stock in materialism. Yeah. And I think we've got to get back to family values and get back to not necessarily helping your neighbor, but we shouldn't all just be vulture capitalists and just hope like, hey, if my neighbor loses his house, I can buy it and I can rent it out to somebody else and be a slumlord. It's like there has to get to a point where we value the most precious commodity here in this country, and that's human resources.
Yeah. Hey, man,
human resources is the most precious commodity, and we don't value that. And so we can say all lives matter, but then we'll sit there and deviate whenever it comes to our confirmation bias. And as far as some of those conspiracy theories are concerned, a lot of them, when I've done my research, man, they are deeply rooted in anti-Semitism. I'm not saying that there aren't some, Jewish folks that could be involved in some cabals or whatever. But what I'm saying is, when you're sitting in your mom's basement looking for an excuse to hate the world and to just stew in your misery, those are the people that I'm afraid of in November, because they've had a chance for the last 2 years to find people. Like what used to be fringe is now mainstream. I don't even understand if Trump understands sometimes what he's doing. But I can guarantee you, if somebody goes out here and they do something foolish, he's not going to accept responsibility.
Oh, no, never.
That's what's scary to me. In addition to us having whatever we got going on with COVID or whatever,
Yeah. Hey, man, you laid it out, man. I appreciate the insights and thoughts, man. You gave us a lot to think about there, my friend. I appreciate you for calling and sharing that.
Okay.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, man, that's a lot of, he packed a whole lot in that one right there, man. That was some good stuff there. And so we can take away some good stuff from that. Yeah, interesting, man. That is real. Let's talk. Give me a call. Let's talk a little bit. Let me hear your thoughts on this matter. So what should we expect moving forward? Like I was saying, it'd be great to get some fresh intel from President Trump, given the fact that he knows Joe's past. Like, of course, Trump has a hell of a past as well. He grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. They both did, in a sense. So they both have been privileged, and they are probably the epitome of what I would consider white privilege. So they are operating from a different side of the tracks than majority of us. So they're not speaking for the majority. They're speaking on their behalf first, and they're lumping everybody into the same category, saying that what we're going to do for America, when it doesn't work that way. So that's why I don't really put much hope in either one of them guys, man, because they're going to win because they're on the inside. Everybody else on the outside, we're the ones that's going to be struggling still regardless. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Mike? It's Barlight Broker from the internet.
Barlight Broker. What's up, my man? How you doing? What's your thoughts for this evening?
Oh, nothing. I was kind of thinking about all the stuff that's been pulled off of YouTube, and basically last fall they pulled off everything that was anti-9, or I guess you wouldn't say anti-9/11, but
truth revealing,
so-called conspiracy related, 9/11, Sandy Hook. Yeah. What was the other big one?
Well, the Boston bombing.
Everything that was pulled off there.
Yeah.
Is basically all true, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't be scared of it. It would be like me saying water is all pink. I could say that till the end of time. No one would ever listen. They'd say, look at it. It's not pink.
Yeah. Very true.
They pulled all that stuff off there. And that last caller was talking about, the conspiracy theorists and things like that, man. A lot of that stuff's true, man.
Yeah.
Even JFK, they come to find out, the guy was shot from in front of him. Somebody shot him basically from a drainage spot in the road. They were basically standing underneath the road. Mm-hmm. But all that conspiracy stuff, man, bet your last dollar that stuff's true. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be a threat, and they would have never pulled it off. YouTube was suspending channels, pulling reposted videos down. They did everything in their power to get rid of that stuff because it had a lot of merit. And it was basically, after 10 years of internet sleuths going over things and 30,000 pilots and 30,000 architects coming out saying that all of this stuff was impossible, it was a major threat.
Yeah.
And the reason why they pulled it all off, I'll tell you why they pulled it all off, Mike. Because they knew during this pandemic there was going to be all kinds of people searching for entertainment, and they would have eventually come across that stuff.
Yeah. Good point.
And then what?
Yeah, good point, man. And so just the very concept of conspiracy theories, it itself was given, I think it was by the CIA during like 1950s or 1960s to bring about confusion to where 50, 60 years later now, it has been thoroughly worked into our conscious to where you hear the words conspiracy, you automatically think, tinfoil hat, they radicals, they far left. When actually it's a alternative version to the truth they're trying to tell you. So, within a conspiracy, there is some evidence and some nuggets that can help you determine the truth, and that's what they don't want you to find out. They don't want you to think and start asking questions.
Correct. That was a term, you're right, invented by the CIA after Kennedy was killed, when people were saying, hey, we really don't believe this. We think something's up, Yeah. That's when they came up with that.
Yeah.
And look, it still holds true. George Bush came out in that one speech he had at the, United Nations and said, don't put up with these conspiracy theorists, because there's a lot of merit there, and we all know that. I mean, at the end of the day, those World Trade Centers, there's only two things that could have put those suckers on the ground: God and explosives, and God didn't do it.
Right. Good point, man. Hey,
I don't know.
I appreciate you.
To call in and remind everybody that they took all that stuff off of YouTube, the Sandy Hook, all of it. They pulled all that stuff off there right before all this stuff went down.
Yeah, good point. Hey, man, thanks for bringing it to our attention again. Good to hear from you, my friend.
Okay, have a good night, Mike. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That is what it is. I see. It was the low blood pressure mention said, what was that? Bust out the tinfoil cap. So yeah, I keep my tinfoil cap. Just because this is one of the things that has inspired a lot of off far left field thought that, it's one of the things where I like to, just for the sake of playing through all types of scenarios, I like to think the worst first, go far left field and work my way back this way and just, try to work my way through all types of opportunities and possibilities. Because at this current moment, what we've witnessed, anything is possible. So I never say nothing is too far-fetched, no matter where it comes from. All right, got a couple more calls here. Let me see here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike.
Tim. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Good. I don't think we need to pay any attention to the debates or the politics. There's nothing there. But, so, Mike, what's the root of all evil? Not counting the higher powers, lower powers, and, good and bad, just in our physical state.
What's
the crux of all evil?
The root of all evil, from a biblical standpoint, is the love of money.
Sorry, not from biblical, but that could be correct. But no, I mean, what's creating all the pain in the world right now?
What's creating all the pain in the world?
Not
evil.
Going biblical, though. Not going to a higher power.
So I would say, I would pinpoint it to a source. I would say Satan. But where are you heading towards?
Creation of currency, but yeah, it has to do with the state.
Now.
So What are the only two currencies that are allowed by the Constitution?
Gold and silver.
That's right. And what year did we lose the Constitution?
The year that we lost the Constitution? Officially, or as of now, it was suspended on, I think, March 2020. So as of right now, we're not operating, I don't think, under constitutional law at all right now. But as far as
I agree, but it started way before that. It was 1871.
Okay, I can go with that.
The Constitution became an incorporation.
Yeah. So and that's one of the things where I've heard that several times. I've read some stuff on it, but yet I tend not to go back that far because, so people say United States of America is a corporation, and we're property and our social security numbers. So that all that's real. Right. But at this point, we're too deep in the game. We're at the last inning of how this current paradigm ends. So have that information right now, I don't think it's as relevant as it would have been years and years ago when we probably would have been able to do something about it. But now people don't really care much about that.
I agree. It's only relevant in the sense that we don't have a constitution that applies to us, and we are at the end game, and this is the very end, and it's a good time to go biblical.
Yeah. So keep like I said, get your weight up, strengthen your faith game as well. This is a great time to really work on your spiritual account as well, my friend.
I agree. Tell low blood pressure call in. I love him. And was that Tony Bailey that called in earlier?
Yeah, he did. He called it earlier.
Yeah, he's great too. Okay, low blood pressure. Give us a call. Okay, Mike. Thank you.
Be good, my man. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right, let's keep talking. But what else we got going on here? So let's look ahead a little bit. And so, what are some expectations? At this current moment, they're going to add some restrictions towards how the next debate will be formatted, and they're probably going to basically just be able to cut off mics. And they're more so talking about President Trump cutting off his mic so that Joe Biden can speak. And so that definitely will help Joe Biden even more, because I think they're going to die down and forget about the whole, Trump on the drug test, and then the mic, the earpiece situation, and whether he had a mic or not. I doubt that's going to get much airplay. So I imagine President Trump will probably repeat the same thing he said before, not give any new intel, which doesn't help him at all. And Joe Biden will probably have another strong, showing, given the fact that he'll have a chance to basically throw more information at Trump and make him look like a fool himself. So, but yeah, I'm curious to find out, what do you guys think? Are there any takes out there as to what you guys are expecting, if anything different for the next debate? We got Ace One. It says bar set so low, Pat, but Chihuahua can become president. Yeah. I mean, what's the Chihuahua taquito Taco Bell? What's the old Taco Bell dog? Ace One, I appreciate that, my friend. The bar is set so low. Yeah. That is that's bad. Chihuahua. Did the Taco Bell dog have a name though? That was a long time ago. He needs a shot collar. We got Concept Quad says the world has been desensitized, delusional, and all human senses were designed to communicate with God, but people have allowed for the devil to take reign. Hence why people are lost. Seek Christ. Hey, well said. Well said. And somebody says, can Trump even pass a drug test? Dow says, could Trump pass a drug test? Man, that's a great. So that's the question is, what would you find? Like, what type of drugs? What type of drugs do you think you guys would find? Because President Trump, both of those guys, of course, they got their own private doctors. They got the top of the line healthcare, and of course, Joe Biden never had Obamacare. They got that they got the presidential stuff. So whatever drugs they have is probably something that is untraceable, unless it's something that does. Yeah, what I'm talking about. Hello, caller. What's name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's low blood pressure. Corpus Christi.
There
I wanted
he
to
is.
say what's up to Tim from Colorado. What's happening?
How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Good. good, man. Did you see that clown show yesterday, Mike? It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad. It was a bad representation of the American people. So the question is, does that type of stuff represent you?
Oh my God, I don't even know what to say about it. I know the only losers were us, Mike.
Yeah.
Not one word of our monetary system and how it's being deflated and how the American people are getting poorer.
Yeah.
Not one word, Mike.
Nothing about the business closures. Nothing about, of course, all the stats they're giving, of course, is those BLS stats. So they're all fake in of itself. But the airlines, unemployment, nothing about the CARES Act, the stimulus checks, and none of the things that people probably really wanted to hear about. None of that stuff, man. Never. It's not allowed.
It's insanity. Like, you hear Joe Biden, he was bumbling about some military awards. He didn't even know what the medals were. He was, I don't even know what he said. He's just making stuff up. And then what do you call it? Trump was talking about his son. He's over there in China. He got this discharge.
Yeah.
It was a poop show. I don't want to say the other word, but my God, Mike.
Yeah. Now think about this. So outside of President Trump continuing to spew out the Obama tapping the phones and all the shady stuff that's happening under the prior administration, he said, we got it on tape, we got you caught, and you were in it too. Okay, we know that. Now we know Hunter Biden got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow, and so you can say all that, but if nothing is done, like if you're the president, if you don't have your attorney general out there, actually getting things done, what's the point of mentioning all that? And it's a waste of his breath, because it just shows probably how powerless you are, or how much power you don't have. Like you can't do anything when it comes to taking care of business in those regards. You start investigating Hillary and actually cause some chaos in her life right now. I think a lot of his so-called supporters or people would really jump on board. But we can't expect nothing like that, man.
Mike, they're untouchable, Mike. He's never going to lock anybody up. Look what they did to J.P. Morgan. Nothing, Mike. It's what show, Mike?
Yeah, man. It's real, but it's what it is, man. So are you expecting anything different for the next debate, or therefore the vice president's debate? Or are you expecting anything different, or more of the same spewing of garbage back and forth?
I think it's going to be, I don't know, maybe they play a little bit cooler, but I think Trump, if they probably have two moderators bashing Trump. It was like he was arguing with the moderator. He wasn't debating Trump. He was debating that cornhead. I don't know what the hell his name is. That guy, that moderator. He's son of a who, mother moderator. He's somebody's famous son. I just don't know who. He's another reporter's son.
Yeah.
But anyways, he was debating him.
Yeah. So more of the same, nothing different. But yet, what is it's setting up something where they're basically telling us how chaotic it's going to be after November 3rd, because with the absentee ballot stuff, that's continue to be a problem. Trump is voicing his opinion on that. Biden is not saying anything about that, because he knows what's going on with that. It's good to say that there'll be no actual way of determining a winner for the rest of 2020.
Yeah.
Now, what type of world will we live in after November 3rd, when it's speculation and just a lot of people not knowing what's what, and Trump is going to do something dumb? Supreme Court situation going to come through. There's going to be some more things he's going to throw out there. It's going to cause more problems. So we are heading down the drain fast, man.
That's crazy, Mike. Let me say this one more thing. I'll get off the line.
Yeah.
Let me say one thing about these ballots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a little bit of insider information. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But ballots are localized by county, by the county clerk. That's who's in charge of all ballots by law, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and those that go through the postal service, that's called originating mail. So if you mail a ballot from your home to the county clerk, it bypasses all machinery, because those things are put separate, and they're not run through any machine. So those ballots go from the entire local area directly to the county clerk. So there's no way that those ballots are ever going to leave the state or even the city, unless you're mailing it from out of town to your local town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those ballots never leave the city. At 99%, you know, sometimes it depends on the city population, but major metropolitan areas, they always stay within the same city. So all of this about the boats aren't going to get there, all of this, and they're usually delivered overnight. So they'll be there the very next day. Mm-hmm. You can do your own research, but like I said, I have insider information about that, you know?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So I see a lot of people saying, you know, voting doesn't count anyway. So.
Well, I'm just saying a lot of people, they're going to try to put the blame on the Postal Service, but that's not how it works, you know?
Yeah.
Those ballots are going to get to where they're supposed to. I can't say 100%, but almost 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate that insight there. That's a good way of looking at it, man. So, yeah, that right there just basically it solidifies the fact that it's going to be a long time for anything gets counted, if they are counted. And then we're going to be finding boxes and all types of ballots all throughout the country and rivers and oceans and lakes and, yeah, for months and months from now. So that just – yeah, I just don't know how this is going to turn out, man. It's going to be chaotic as hell, but what type of, I mean, damn, like, it's really going to speed things up. And how do you think the markets are going to respond? Will the equities market still continue to go up if the streets are a complete chaos?
I don't know, man, but according to a lot of the guys I listen to, they say no matter who wins, you know, they're going to pump money into more liquidity. So I think the markets are just going to keep skyrocketing until, you know, the hyperinflation says. But who knows?
Well, we will find out, unfortunately. So, hey, man, I appreciate you calling in as always. Good to hear your voice, my man.
All right, Mike. Have a great night.
Yep, you too. Oh, man. All righty. So, yeah, the people have spoken tonight, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get ready to dial back. So, yeah, we'll be back at it again tomorrow night, Lord willing. Oh, also tomorrow, 3 p.m., I have Manico 64, my good friend joining me, Mr. Mario. So definitely join us for that live stream. We're going to be talking about, you know, I want to get the UK's viewpoint on the debacle here in the U.S. when it comes to the presidential side of things, as well as get his side of the story on how the whole lockdown in the UK is happening. And other than that, people, it's been great hanging out. As always, if you've enjoyed the back and forth, having a chance to communicate within the community and share your thoughts, hit that thumbs up button beneath this video here. And then for those that are interested, I want to make sure I make you guys aware, help you guys be aware of the Get Your Weight Up Collector's Coin. Definitely a way to, better diversify yourself away from the fiat that you guys are holding on to. Put it to good use, buy your food, get your resources, and get your weight up along the way. And if you want to be a blessing to the channel beyond that, feel free to support via the gear as well. So I want to make sure you guys are aware. And let's keep it moving, man. Be blessed, be stayed up, stay prayed up. And, of course, I was meditating on a thought, and I'll end it with this. But, you know, there's one of my favorite scriptures talks about it's a promise from God. And it says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And I've really been thinking about, like, man, you know, what's the true core desires of my heart? And so in me trying to work all that out there, that gives me something to put before God and just say, hey, you know, if that scripture is true, or if that promise to your children is true, then outside of all this darkness and chaos in front of me, there's still something good in front of me that's waiting on me, because of course that's the desires of my heart. And so I'm seeking you now more than ever because I need guidance. So something to think about for those out there, that piece of scripture there. What's the desires of your heart? You know, take it to the Lord in prayer, and let's pray for one another. You know, definitely include the RTD community in your prayers. We can definitely use that, as well as this country and the world itself. So we need wisdom right now. But anyway, enough of that. Let's be blessed, be safe. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month towards the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.